Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. And there's always talk during the rostermania period who is paying the most salaries as it stands. Boston Breach, we know, have been offering a lot of money. Apparently they offered, what, 400k to Envoy to get him to join. He decided not to, went to Toronto Ultra instead. But the two highest paying teams are still OpTic Texas and Atlanta FaZe. Drazah reveals that actually OpTic wanted to pay him more money than FaZe were offering him, but he still went for the FaZe offer. And also lots of theories about what Thieves are paying relative to the whatever financial collapse may or may not be going on over there. Very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, here's a tatch. I believe this, well, look at the caption first. Thinking how Modern Warfare 2 will be the best COD ever if Ninja is a perk and has red dots on the minimap. So, on Modern Warfare 3, sorry, let's not say that Modern Warfare 2 will be interesting because a tatch will do at some point his customary, you may have already done it, I haven't seen it, I'm not sure yet, but it may already exist. The Modern Warfare 3 will be the best COD game of all time. I think he has probably done it already actually, but it's almost a bit of a backtrack here from Attach on what he usually says, because he's like, yeah, it's only going to be the best if Ninja is a perk and red dots on the minimap, but they may well both be, and hopefully that's the case. Also, I mean, obviously Attach looking good as ever here. This has got to be Lake Como, right? In Italy, I think we can also see an Italian flag. I think this also is the villa where, like, is this not the Anakin and Padme villa or something on Lake Como? I think it definitely looks like it from this shot, so I think that's probably where it is. But anyway, Attach is looking good. Hopefully he's having a good time out there. And we also got this from Ghosty in the reply. It's hella handsome. So I think that Ghosty's going to Thieves, and I don't think Attach will be going to Thieves as well. But there's been surprisingly little talk about Attach this rostermania period. He's one of those players like a Clay, like an Attach, to be honest, maybe even like an Accuracy in some respects, that you might want to build around. Thieves obviously aren't looking at Attach as it stands. Probably he's not going to play with Ghosty, but maybe Rokkr do again. I mean, who knows, right? Does he return to that franchise? Quite possibly. Rokkr, of the teams that are remaining, apart from maybe like the Vancouver Surge, if they're going to be Vancouver Surge next season, is the most attractive option. They will probably still pay decent money next year, although they are doing that merger with G2 apparently, so who knows what's going to happen on that front. But yeah, I'm guessing Attach might stay around there over at the Rokkr next season, whatever that's going to look like as it stands. Because I thought we might have more talk around his movement than we have at the present time. Also, Thieves, if you guys didn't see this yesterday, Ghosty, Cammy, Afro, JoeDeceives is kind of the present rumor as to what they might be planning to do. And the question was to me, what money are these Thieves guys paying nowadays? Like, are they just going to pay minimums, which they're not? And look, if you've got to try and base these guys out in LA, that's not really going to cut it, to be honest. The theory is they're still paying quite a lot. It's difficult, like, there's been a couple of different rumors on this, whether Thieves are paying around about the $100,000 mark, or whether they're paying slightly more than that. Octane and certainly Zoom in a second go into that as well. But also there's been lots of talk on the salaries that the top teams are offering, because since I think FaZe used to offer like mega salaries, and they still do in part for understandable reasons, but like during the Modern Warfare days, everyone was getting paid like just insane money on those teams. I think even back then there technically was a salary cap of like 1.5 million, so they could only make like 300k each, I think. But then Activision realized that actually they can't do a salary cap. It's illegal in California state law because there isn't like a counterparty in a union to trade with. So effectively the salary cap at some point got quietly dropped and pushed away because they realized that it actually wasn't legal to enforce it, although the teams I think were in some way respecting it the first year or so. But I think certain teams, like for example Huntsman or whatever, were probably paying Scumper a salary to be a player, and then like an additional content creator salary to top up his bank account was probably like a relationship they had working on. We don't really know about that, but it's just a rumor that has gone around over the last couple of years. So who's still paying the most money nowadays? Because all these teams are running out of money. We know the league is in a tricky spot, and there's only very few teams that can survive as it stands from a sustainability perspective in the medium term. We know this current franchise format has to change in some respects, and even teams like Thieves are now dropping what they're paying down way below what would usually be the case, but it's still roughly around league average rates compared to what some of the other players have been making. However, the top teams to get the top players are still paying big money, as you would expect, and Drazah gave his thoughts on why he's chosen FaZe over OpTic, made it very clear that from his point of view, it's a no-brainer to go there. He wants to win, therefore he plays goes with the FaZe guys. You can dispute that because, you know, there's an argument to say that FaZe have won the same amount of events in the last 2 years that OpTic have, but in terms of average placements, yes, it's going to go FaZe's way, and Cold War was a special season for those guys, which is unlikely to be repeated, but it's maybe a little bit possible if everything aligns for those FaZe guys once again in the upcoming season. But he also mentions salaries, so he was asked about salaries, and he says that OpTic offered him more money than FaZe, and still he went for the FaZe offer.
Well, I'm actually curious, and you know, obviously there's not specific numbers, but when it comes to money, was money a factor? Like if you take away the team, right? We know FaZe is a better team. Take that away. Was the OpTic offer better than the FaZe offer? Worse? The same?
It was better, but not by a...
they're desperate. They're desperate.
Not an insane amount.
Wait,
And it wouldn't have mattered what the number was.
Pat got 6 alarms in the morning to wake up and hit on OpTic.
Yeah,
Bro.
really, right?
Let him finish. Let him finish. This is good. This is good.
It wouldn't matter what money they would have offered, because I am joining the team that I want to win with, and that's all it is.
All right, there you go.
Appreciate you a lot for coming.
Wait, I
on
have one more.
and-
I have one more.
Oh, shit.
Let
Here we
me
go.
hear it.
Go ahead, Slay.
What are the odds that you win the first series against OpTic next year?
100%.
0. Am I right, Greenwall?
Look at Sam, bro. Look at fucking Sam, dude. No way. But nah,
Nah, I appreciate you guys having me on.
yeah, thank you so much, Zach. I appreciate it. I don't know where it was, but he's spitting, this guy right here. Big misconception. Yeah, 100 Thieves or LA Thieves, they're not paying minimums. They are paying league average. I'm hearing that they're paying around like 140, 150, which is not bad. You know, I think that's good.
For this season.
Yeah, they're paying league average. They're not paying just straight minimums.
I just want to be clear on what we're saying. Like,
I don't know if that's true, but I'm pretty sure
what their
that's what they're
management
paying,
has
which is
said,
good. That's not bad.
What their management is
That's
basically
good.
Thieves rebuild problem. Oh, baby. LAT are rumored to be on a mega cost-cutting rebuild, which will assume consists of them offering close to minimum salaries for CDL players. However, what I haven't seen people talk about is they're retaining their facility/coaching system. Means, however, they sign and be expected to live in LA and play from the facility, which, to my understanding, is an expensive area. So anyone who's on the minimum is going to be seriously struggling to get around their workplace or read logistical problems. Couple things. They're not offering the minimum. I can assure you guys of that. Never mind. I'm not throwing business out there. This thread will not be a problem though, chat. We'll just put it like that.
So Zuma also mentioning there the Thieves salaries that have been rumored. Octane gave his thoughts on it as well. That they're not paying minimums. I think that Ronnie said that he'd heard they're paying something like 100k. Zuma said like 140, 150, which is apparently around about league average. So it's interesting that things aren't changing drastically. I mean, I don't know what the guys were on before. Were they on like 300k each or something? I guess they did win the World Championship and they were expected to be very good going into Vanguard, and they were. So, I mean, yeah, lots of people would say, damn, these guys, like, they moan, but they're making all this money, like ordering DoorDash every day, and like just playing constantly in their bedrooms. So, I mean, look, it's interesting. Like 140, 150 is still pretty respectable from Thieves, I would say, given the circumstances that they apparently have no money left and all this. So, okay, budget cuts. They can't get the absolute best of the best with that type of salaries because Boston apparently are stepping up their game. So there's still some orgs that have money around here, at least for now, right? That may not last forever. But the top salaries are still OpTic and FaZe, right? And there was this fantastic Reddit thread, as I'm sure you can expect when you look at the name here. We've got TopG_420 talking about why did Hex sell OpTic and how did he buy it back? And the assumption was like that Hex is one of these billionaires that is also one of the guys that own some of these other franchise teams. And obviously Hex wasn't in that position. You guys know the story on this. But one of the quotes was, why doesn't OpTic have money like other orgs? And the fact of the matter is that nowadays they pretty much do. And Ronnie says they and FaZe pay the most and it's not close anymore. If you mean in the past, it's because only Hex was funding it, not billionaires. That's pretty simple to understand. So this is interesting. I don't know what Boston are paying because there was that rumor that went around that Octane mentioned or someone mentioned that Envoy was offered 400k to play for Boston this year, which you'd think would be not dissimilar to what the likes of Slasher and Priestahh might be getting. Okay, they're going to get paid less than that because they're not in quite as demand as Envoy was, but still, like if they're getting paid 250 or something in that ballpark, like that would be very impressive. So, and if that's not close anymore to what FaZe and OpTic are paying, then OpTic and FaZe must be in like, 400k ballpark plus. I think we've heard for, what was it, maybe Cold War that Simp was on like 500 or or something. Obviously, there was the rumor that Subliners are paying HyDra 500k, but I don't know if that's actually the case. I do wonder if any point we'll actually get public contracts. I know the teams and the players wouldn't want it, but it does exist in other sports. So, you know, I don't really feel bad talking about these topics because it's such a public thing in other sports anyway that we're just kind of used at this point in sports to talking about the salaries that players are making. So we don't really know. It's all speculation, but there's some theories as to what some of these teams might be paying, and therefore it's interesting to at least mention them. And for a lot of these guys, the money isn't so relevant. It's the same thing for Envoy, right? It's like, does he want to take, let's say it was 400k from, you know, maybe even Toronto paying him half that amount over there, and he's got to pay more taxes probably because he's Ontario. But what matters for these guys, right? Does it matter that, all right, he might be making some less salary, and okay, in the next several years when he eventually is going into retirement, that might play a relevant factor. But could he extend his career by playing on a better team and maintaining his stock and getting more championships and also winning more prize money? That's part of it. The FaZe guys have generally been happy to take pay cuts if they have to, just because they know they're going to do a lot, they know they're going to make Championship Sunday, they know they're going to win a lot of finals, or at least make a lot of finals, and therefore rinse a fair bit of prize money. Yes, the organisation will take some of that, which is, I think, understandable, because otherwise the organisations have very little revenue at all, but it's quite possible that some of the prize money actually makes up for what they would have been earning by certain salaries. And the other thing is that certain players just want to win, right? They don't want to be a player that, you know, mills around the league getting middling salaries and just being there to have a job. They want to go down in history as one of the best ever, so they would happily take potentially a pay cut to go somewhere else. And I think Drazah falls into that category where he's probably thinking, you know what, all right, OpTic might be offering me even 50k more, 30k more, whatever it might be. And it's interesting that OpTic can still offer the most salaries, because if FaZe and OpTic are offering the most, and OpTic have offered Drazah more than FaZe did, then that's, you know, pretty interesting just to have that understanding that that's kind of where OpTic still are relative to the other teams in the league. And Drazah probably thinks, well, okay, I take this pay cut technically to go to FaZe, but I'll make up that money many times over in prize money winnings that he doesn't reckon that he might have earned at OpTic. So I think, you know, for Drazah, maybe it was a relatively simple decision regardless of the money, but it obviously is a relevant factor. I do wonder what the situation was with Octane, right? Like, if nothing changed at Thieves and they were still offering like 300, would it have mattered? Then again, Octane, I mean, this is the thing that Octane did say on stream. He was like, well, if he got an offer from FaZe, if FaZe gone in his DMs and said, hey, Octane, do you want to come and join us? He would have had to, at the very least, heavily consider it, right? Which is understandable, but nonetheless, you got to think that Octane might have looked at, well, if they're going to offer me this big money and like getting to play with the FaZe guys, like I've got to at least consider it. So it's definitely a relevant factor. It's definitely not everything for these pro players, but that's pretty much where we're going to leave it for today. So very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.